Hello, good evening. This is the Great Jew Atheist, and this is podcast 20. Please like this video, subscribe, and if you like, comment and email me at greatjewatheist@gmail.com. Again, that's the greatjewatheist@gmail.com. Okay, today's podcast is an interesting one, and I call these simple life formulas. These little step-by-step things that you can do simplify life. Some of them are kind of funny, but some of them can be quite useful. Okay, so let's begin. Oh, by the way, I got an excellent criticism from someone on YouTube, Born Justice 48, a friend of mine, and he commented that some of my videos are overlong, so I will be little by little redoing some of them and shortening them, except the Psych Ward series because they're just too difficult. So I will be doing them, although my biggest video is the Subway Jesus series. So for some reason it's got 79 likes, 79 views, and it has stayed at 79 ever since. So okay, so let's begin. Okay, now Harvey Mackay has what I call the 4-step successful formula. Okay, so now if there's 100% to be successful, so he says just showing up, just show up. You're 85% there. You don't have to do anything else. Then he says show up, and then show up on time. Don't be late. That's 90% to being successful. Show up and show up on time, and with a plan. Okay. A lot of people ask me, well, what do you mean by plan? Well, what are you going to do when you show up on time? What's your plan? What's your, why are you showing up? Why go if you're not going to have a plan? And that's 95% to be successful. And his final thing is show up on time with a plan and put the plan into action. He says that's the goose that laid the golden egg. 100% you'll be successful. I don't know if 100% of the time maybe your plan is bad. So that's his first success formula. Oops, time to go back. Okay, what happened? Okay, now Tony Robbins is one of the most famous success motivators, and he has what's called the ultimate success formula. Now, originally this was a four-step thing, formula, but for some reason it became 5, and I think 5 is better. So what do you have to do first? We'll take maybe an example. Let's say lose weight. Okay, so let's say lose weight. So know your outcome. So what's your outcome? So let's say you weigh 250 pounds, and what is your outcome? And so your outcome is, I want to weigh 200 pounds in 6 months, right? That's pretty reasonable. It's not unreasonable. Okay, so that's the first step. Know where you want to go. So if you don't know where you want to go, if you have something like, you want to lose weight, you don't know where you want to go, right? It's like, well, I want to go somewhere. You should start walking, and you don't end up in where you want to go. Now, here's what I think is really good about this. Have a massive why. Why do you want to lose weight? A lot of people say, well, I want to lose weight. Why? I don't know. I just want to lose weight. Everyone tells me I should lose weight. But losing weight deals with a lot of trade-offs. I'm going to have to exercise, and I'm going to have to give up some very tasty foods. And, this is a bad time of year probably to start. So probably want to tread water until January 1st, 2019. So, first thing you probably want to do is just make a list. And list, why do you want to lose weight? Well, what could be examples? Well, I don't want to exacerbate or get diabetes. I want to be in better shape. I want to look better. I don't want to be that person they laugh at, the fat guy, whatever it is. I don't want to, be able. I want to be able to walk up the stairs. Whatever reason you have. I want to look more attractive. I want to fit into my old clothing. So that's. And I think that again is the most important step. If you don't have a massive why, because the things will conspire against you in any change, right? So that's the key step. Massive why, a lot of reasons, and if you don't have a massive why, then just forget it, because you're gonna fail. So develop a massive why. Start thinking about it, and once you get that massive why, take action. Okay, so what actions you're gonna take? You gotta think. Well, you could go on a specific diet. You can go on the South Beach diet. You can go on your own diet. You could say, well, what does it take to lose weight? It's not that hard. You don't have to be. You don't have to work for NASA to lose weight. Probably exercise more, eat less. There's Atkins diet I found worked really good for me. I think I lost 40 pounds in like 3 months on it. Long-term health effects are debatable. But I think that's what it all boils down to. Probably some research diets. Just probably eat a little better, exercise a little more, and the weight will drop. It's not hard. Try to avoid canned cake. Maybe once a week have a snack. It's not that difficult. The only thing you probably have to, and once you have the massive why, that will not be hard. Just say, I really want to look good. That hot chick over in human resources has been eyeing me, but I'm too fat. Okay. Fourth thing is have the sensory acuity to see if your actions are taking you closer to your goal or farther away. Now, one thing, of course, you can do is every week you get a scale and you weigh yourself in, right? So, if you're 250 pounds, week one, then you take your actions and get on the scale and you weigh 255, right? So you're doing something wrong. Or you get on the scale and you're weighing 240 and you've done quite well. So keep on doing it, right? And the fifth part of the Tony Robbins Ultimate Success Formula is change your action until you achieve your outcome, right? So again, if you're not getting there, keep changing. Do something different. Don't do the same thing. And he also mentions the technique of modeling to achieve your goals, which basically is find someone who lost 50 pounds or lost a great deal of weight or, a good deal of weight in a short period of time, and just do what they did. If they just ate vegetables, do what they did. Not pleasant, but if you really have a why, you really want to lose that weight, eat cauliflower and asparagus and you'll fart your brains out, but that'll work. So, I really like this. I think this, if you follow this, I think you'll have lots of successes. And again, a lot of things in life are just hard, And, I think, especially, diets, you're just going to fail around this time of year. It's just, quitting smoking actually is very good this time of year. The day before Thanksgiving is the Great American Smokeout. So that might, if you smoke, might be the time. And, use a couple of weeks before, it's always, they always say 2 weeks before you want to, think about it. And that might be the day, It's also good because on Thursday you use a family and, it's it's a really good time. So that might be one change you can make. So let's go on to the next slide. Okay, now, because I'm an alcoholic, I'm pretty familiar with this, and I'm into change and what are the steps to change, okay? So when you want to change something, about yourself, behavioral change. And by the way, this is really well researched. There's 35 years of research going into it, and it's called the 5 steps for change, the trans theoretical model. Okay, and this is a work of a site. I don't think he's with us anymore. His name is James Prochaska, and so and everyone pretty much goes through these changes. Okay, and so the first thing is pre-contemplation. You're not ready. Okay, you're not ready to make the change. Okay, so this happens a lot in substance abuse treatment. So basically, what happens is the person comes in and they're high. I see this all the time. The guy's eyes are red and they're sleepy. They're high as a kite and they have their legs go across and they're they got their hats on, their do-rags, and it's just a mess. So they're not ready. They still want to get high. They don't think that any change is necessary, and so this is called pre-contemplation. Okay, now contemplation is getting ready. Okay, getting ready. Now you start to say, well, I still am not sure. I kind of think the pros and the cons of my behavior are about equal, but you're starting to see the cons of my behavior, whether they're smoking, drinking, using drugs, or have dramatic costs. And, in terms of financial things, in terms of health, in terms of, all kinds of things, incarceration, all kinds of bad things, that they're, at this point you're basically thinking getting high might not be so good, and it's about even, but you're still getting high is good, and you're still not ready to go into the next part, which is preparation. Now you're ready. You've seen the light. You say, okay, getting high, taking heroin, taking a needle. I don't want to be a Phil Seymour Hoffman, and I don't want to die with a needle jutting out my arm in Greenwich Village. So, so that this is not good. You know that shooting yourself up with heroin is not a good thing. Even though it feels probably really, really good. I would imagine to whore yourself out if you're a woman and you spend all your money, and it must be an amazing experience, and it's just not worth it, and you're convinced that it's not worth it, although you're very vulnerable at this point. Okay, the next step is action. Okay, so now you take steps. You take steps, and you stop using heroin. So you go to a substance abuse clinic, and you have some success, but many times we lapse or relapse. A lapse being maybe a day or two where you're back on the drug, but you get off of it, and relapse might be a week, and but you get back on it, and you get back on the wagon, and then you go to the final step, hopefully the exit, where maintenance, where you just have to maintain the sobriety, and the door is there at the maintenance step, and again there could be lapses. Action is more. You're very vulnerable still, where maintenance is you can still lapse or relapse, but you're not that prone. Okay. The 5 steps of the scientific method. Okay. Now, for you fundamentalists, you might not like this because we don't believe in evolution and we don't believe in science, We believe in our Lord Savior and our personal relationship with Jesus. Okay? Okay, so the scientific method has gotten us iPhones, and it's one of the most brilliant things ever invented. I mean, it's taken the human species up thousands of just from it's in I don't know who knows when it was invented, maybe Isaac Newton time, and that's a good question. I should have asked myself that. Ask a question, right? And more human invention in the last 300-400 years than the rest of human history. It's amazing. It's funny. I was talking to my fundamentalist friend, and I was thinking about a screenplay, and he's like, well, man, the word breathe, the word of Jesus, God, breath of man, and all this delusional thoughts. And I was saying, I wish I could write. He couldn't, so the screenplay would be him saying this crazy schizophrenic stuff, and then all of a sudden, he'd go into a time warp with his Android. I don't like the Android. I like the iPhone. I think it's much cooler. And then he'd have enough juice in it. He'd have a battery pack or something, and it's right before Jesus. He's like 5 BC, right? And and he would. So they would think he was God. So they would think he was God because he has this amazing device. He's showing, man, look at this, and it wouldn't be Christianity, it would be his last name, and everyone would think, he rose to the dead, and he died for your sins, and all this incredible stupidity. Okay, so the 5 steps to the scientific method are ask a question. So you ask a question: why do people murder other people? Okay, so you construct a hypothesis, and so your hypothesis, because murdering another person in our ancestors had fitness benefits, right? So in other words, it helped you pass on more offspring than people that did not want to murder other people. It's actually a good book, The Murderer Next Door by David Buss. If you're interested in more of that, an evolutionary psychological look at murder. Okay, now you got this hypothesis, you need to test it. I'm not sure, David Buss did he's University of Michigan. I think he's at University of Texas now. But you need to test the hypothesis. I'm not sure. I guess he did cross-cultural studies. That's what he usually does in evolutionary psychology. Usually use cross-cultural studies. Sometimes they use higher primates, but I think his methods are usually higher primates. Okay, so now you do the experiment. Okay, experiment's done, you analyze the data and draw the conclusion. So you analyze the data, and the data corresponds to your conclusion that basically we have in our brains an ability to murder others because at times this could be beneficial to our fitness. That means our ability to pass on our genetics. Okay, now the last part of the process is you communicate your findings to others. So, so you're a PhD scientist, and by the way, it's really important because, publish or perish, this is how you get these ivory tower jobs, these are the best jobs in the world, if you have a cousin who was University of Rutgers, Newark, and he just worked 6 months, he complains how hard it is, tenured professor, and if there's a utopian job, and he's just talking, they just give him 6 months, just try to figure something out, So now you communicate your findings to others. So maybe he has a friend at Princeton, he says, I just did this mathematical paper, and I want you to look at it. And now basically what other scientists do, they try to trip up it. They look, so let's say David Buss comes up with this hypothesis that murder is an innate thing. So he maybe sends it out to 5 other, PhDs, and University of Santa Barbara, by the way, is one of the great centers for evolutionary psychology. And they try to trip it up. They try to look at design flaws and they try, and that's actually looked at as a good thing. It's not looked at as bad. That's the beauty of science. It's such a beautiful thing, it's like figure skating. It's like ballet. They're trying to trip it up, but the person that does it is happy they're trying to trip it up, because if they can't trip it up, he has a hypothesis and he has a lifetime job, and he has a lifetime job. There's a good chance he's very happy. There's not much more you can ask for in life. Barring civil unrest. You're hanging out at University of Michigan, and I don't think anytime soon you have to worry about the university collapsing, or something, big scandal, the trustees, and these people know what they're doing, so, okay. Ooh, let's go back, let's get this. Okay, the 5 steps of grief. Okay, so let's say, for example, let's take, this is a famous Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. Okay, so let's take an example, and let's say you're going out with this, hot girl, and you're really like, wow, this is great, and all of a sudden out of nowhere she blows you off, and you're like, wow, what the fuck happened? I thought I was doing so good, and 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 you were like ready to you're knocking on the door of heaven, and all of a sudden, she blew you off, and you thought that you were almost there. You thought that she's classy, she's beautiful, she smelled good, she had beautiful hair, she had beautiful pert breasts, she had a beautiful ass. Everything, she dressed nice, she was intelligent, she was charming, anything a guy could want. So now you're not happy, you're sad, and so you're in grief, right? So what's the first step according to Kubler-Ross? Denial. You deny this has happened. She didn't break up with me. I'm gonna call her. Hello? Click, and you keep on, no, she had a bad day, she just had a bad, she didn't break up with me. Then at a certain point, so you move through the stages, and there's a funny episode in The Simpsons I'll never forget, that Homer eats fugu, which, at some times it's a blowfish that the Japanese, it's kind of crazy, can be poisonous if not prepared by a chef. And the chef was out making out in the car with Miss Krabappel, and his assistant was making the fugu, and they thought the fugu was poisoned, and basically they said, Homer, you only have 48 hours to live. And he went to the doctor, what was it, doctor, I forget, but he's based on Dr. Huxtable, the doctor in The Simpsons, and Homer, they show him going through all the steps. He goes, Mr. Simpson, you've gone through the 5 steps of grief amazingly quick, So you're in denial. Okay, so denial, you finally realize she's not coming back, and you fucked up. Okay, so next step is anger, How come you fucking did this? And you're fucking blowing, you're throwing things, and, and you're fucking, you can't believe it. Okay, and that happens for a while, and they're bargaining, you're calling her up, come on back, honey, come on, please, I'll be better this time. So she needs to take some, no, you're gonna always be this way, you slept with this other girl, my girlfriend Gina, but please, it'll be different this time. Yeah, sure. So you're bargaining. You buy her, you send her roses. Spend $100 on roses. You buy the best Coke. Okay. So the bargaining doesn't work. Okay, and you're starting to realize this isn't gonna work. And you all felt this. Everyone's felt this. So then comes depression, and you fucking can't get out of bed, and it's just like, oh fuck, fucked up. There's no hope. I'll never meet another girl. At least I'll never meet another girl like this. All I'm left with shit. She was beautiful. She was intelligent. She smelled like a fucking rose, And then finally, acceptance. And so this is the last stage. And you finally said, well, it's time to move on. So, at some point you accept that, in death too, you accept that someone died. You'll come to this step that that the person is no longer coming back, and so it's funny. I had this girlfriend, I went through the 5 steps with, and she came back for a little while, but it was never the same. I just it just was different, and it just was so odd, and I knew it could never work out, because we went through the relationship, I went through the steps of grief. She came back for a little bit, but just didn't work out. Okay, now this is a fun one, because I'm going to cut through this like a freaking knife. I hate these fucks. Okay, there's 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. Okay. Now it's funny, Dennis Leary line. He calls NyQuil the 13th step. Okay, the first step, we have admitted we are powerless over alcohol, that our lives have become unmanageable. Okay, that's not too bad. I agree with that, you have become, you can't stop. It's great. No, I don't think it's right. I think alcohol. It's funny, like I was telling people that getting off alcohol is the best thing I ever did. I feel so much better. It's just such a bad drug. It makes you depressed. It's really bad. And if you're drinking, stop. Just try it. I guarantee, do it for 2 weeks. You will feel so much better. Okay, now here's the fun part. Step 2, came to believe a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Okay, what's that power? Where is he? Where is she? What's the power greater than this? Maybe a power less than us could restore us to sanity. Okay, step 3, made this decision to turn our lives, and our will to the care of God as we understood him. Okay, what do you mean? Who's God? Where's God? What is he doing? He's hanging out. Is he up in Jesus and Muhammad? They're playing cards. I mean, where is God? Where is he? This is just stupidity. I think that if you really, I think deep down inside, this is not a God. You're mentally ill. You are mentally ill. If you really think there's a God, if you really believe. Most people, they just have some kind of vague hope. There's no afterlife. My hamsters they don't have an afterlife. We're just like hamsters, we just a little smarter, okay? Made a searching and fearless moral inventory. Okay, moral inventory says, okay, I have nothing wrong with that. I have nothing against that. Nothing against that. Get this straight with this whole fucking podcast. Admitted to God. Okay, so we admitted to something that doesn't exist, ourselves and another being. How can you admit, the exact nature of our wrongs? Okay, so we admitted to something that doesn't exist. So I admitted to a fairy, a goblin, a leprechaun. Come here, Mr. Leprechaun. Or, how can you admit to something that doesn't exist? I admitted to my dragon. I saw a dragon. He was breathing fire, and I admitted to it. This is so fucking ridiculous. So dumb. Exactly the nature of our wrongs. I was wrong. I shouldn't have done that coke. I'm sorry, God. We're entirely ready to have God. So we are entirely ready to have something that doesn't exist remove our defects of character. The thing that doesn't exist, something that doesn't exist, remove all my defects of character. It's just bizarre. And this is like, people actually believe this. This is unbelievable. It's just, how can something that doesn't exist remove our character defects? Okay? Humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings. I got a shortcoming downstairs, so please, God, make it bigger, He's not answered my prayers, got a shortcoming down there. Please, God, get me Kim Kardashian. That's a shortcoming. I have a shortcoming. Humbly, I'm asking you humbly, Well, maybe if you ask God not humbly, God, Give me, I don't know what they mean by humbly, you know, is there a humble way, is there a non-humble way? How can you ask something that doesn't exist to remove shortcomings, you know? Hey, that's what God does, he removes shortcomings. He gives you shortcomings. I don't know, I mean, if he removes shortcomings, he must give you shortcomings. So that's step 7. It's just so fucking ridiculous. It's just, okay, anyone with God is, you know, they actually have an atheist one. I think it's pretty good. I probably should do that one. Made a list of all the persons we harmed and became willing to make amends. Okay, that's not bad. I kind of agree with that. I think that's a good. Made direct amends to such people whenever possible, except to do so would injure them or others. Okay, 9 is okay, 8 is okay. Okay, 10. 10's like kind of like, oh, you know what I forgot? The 10 Commandments. That's pretty funny too. We might have to go through that, and but some of them are just so fucking ridiculous, especially 1 to 3. No angels, no gods, no stones, no before me. Graven images. Okay. So God's thinking, all right, let's see. What is important to me? I'm gonna graven images. No graven images. Okay, so now step 4 and actually step 10 are pretty much the same. If you think about it, continue. So you really started to make an inventory. So really, we can combine steps 4 into 10. So make and continue the personal inventory, and when we were willing, promptly admitted to it. Okay, so steps 4 and 10 are pretty much the same thing. So it's really the 11 steps, right? Okay, well, this is really fun. Yeah, I forgot the 10 Commandments. I fucked up again. I always fuck up. I'm the world's biggest fuck up. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with something that doesn't exist. Let me see. Okay, the boogeyman. Now, I talk to the boogeyman. I talk to dragons and monsters and, Isn't this like you're a child? I mean, like you're a child, you had the boogeyman. And you know how you contact the boogeyman through prayer and meditation? Please, the boogeyman, please talk to me tonight. Praying only for his knowledge. The boogeyman is knowledge of his will for us and the power to carry that out. So the boogeyman is knowledge. It's just so fucking crazy. So the 11 steps, because there aren't really 12 steps. There are only 11 steps. Right? Please, boogeyman, please help me. Please help me. I need help because I can't do it alone. It just can't be done. Only you can do it. You're the only one that can help me. So please, I can't do it. It can't be done. It just cannot be done. You're the only guy that can do it, boogeyman. This is so fucking the 11 steps about because it's not 12. There's only 11 steps. 12. Having a spiritual awakening as a result of the steps. We'll get to the spirit. We try to carry this message to alcoholics and practice these principles in our affairs. Okay, I have 2 problems with that. What is a spiritual awakening, Isn't that something like just delusions? Having delusions as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to alcoholics, practice these principles, which are basically things like admitted to the boogeyman and make it to things that don't exist. It's just, I guess what they're trying to say is, you try to help, you become a sponsor and things like that. But it's so fucking ridiculous. I mean, if you really think about these things, and the boogie, isn't God, just the boogeyman, the leprechaun, elves, Isn't like the Middle Earth, isn't like UFOs or Bigfoot. It's all the same thing, essentially, Things that don't exist. That we say, oh yeah, this Bigfoot exists. I've seen him in the Pacific. It's always in the Pacific. It's actually, I was doing some research, and this is something called Jerusalem syndrome. People go nutty for some reason in Jerusalem. I always thought that and they have something like that, I think in the Pacific Northwest, for some reason, something about that area, or some areas in the earth, maybe it's the climate, the mountains, the hills, where you see things that are not there. You see Jesus. And maybe that's what happened. 1985 years ago, whatever. You see things that aren't there. Maybe people saw resurrections, or maybe seen a guy with a long beard walk on water. It's so fucking ridiculous. You gotta understand something. Okay, you're not dumb. Oh, okay. No, you know Okay, let me explain this to you. Okay, I'm gonna try to explain this to you. See, universe is governed by laws. Okay, these laws are called the laws of physics. Okay, now these laws. See, here's the thing about the laws of physics. Like, for instance, the laws of gravity. If you drop something, it'll go down. And this law, like, you drop something, it doesn't go up, right? It'll never go up, right? It'll never. I mean, never. It will never. You never. I guarantee. I will bet your life on it. It'll never go up, right? Okay. So that's called the law of physics, right? A law of physics is that if you drop something, it will go down, right? This is called gravity. So here's another law of physics. You cannot change a loaf of bread, whatever a fucking loaf is, into fish, right? It just doesn't happen. Here's another one. Okay, here's another law of physics. Well, this is more a law of biology. You cannot raise the dead. By definition, dead is devoid of life, and by definition, dead things do not come to life. Right? Only things that are alive can produce live things, and live things will eventually become dead, and dead things never become alive. That's just a definition, right? Right? Dead things can never become alive. You might say, well, how about bacteria? Now they found bacteria that are, in suspended, they're still alive. You fucking idiot. You fucking moron. It's so dumb. It's like a shitstorm of idiocy. I just can't take it anymore. It's just you are incredibly dumb. Please check yourself. You know what I want you to do? If you believe in God, here's what I want you to do. Probably takes a couple of years to get your pilot's license. Okay, I want you to get your pilot's license. Get yourself like a Cessna, one of those little planes, and do a John Depp, and just take it and just fly, fucking crash it into a building. You have no hope. You just don't have any hope. There's no Jesus has never. You think Jesus would? You think Jesus is Jesus? When you just get onto a cloud and say, "Hey, I'm Jesus," guess what? It's rapture time. Come on. It's been 19. I mean, you would think, okay, this is 1,985 years since Jesus died for our sins. I don't even fucking know what a sin is. I don't get it. There's no such thing as a sin. People just do things. Some of them we judge as bad, and some of them we judge as good, and some of them we think themselves as bad, and some of them we think is good, but there are no sins. There's no such thing as a sin. I mean, jerk off, it's not a sin, it just feels good, You kill somebody, it's, you kill somebody, there could be repercussions though, the family of the people you kill, the person you kill could come kill you, or society might deem it as, probably it's a good thing, I would gather, and they might deem it as a bad thing, and they might take you and isolate you and lock you up in conditions that are not favorable to mental health, right? And it's probably a good thing, but there are no good or bad things. There are just, there are things that people judge to be good or bad, So there are no sins. Sins are an illusion. There is no such thing as a sin. There's only things that we judge, and probably, it's a good thing, that are good and bad, right? There's no evil, there are no demons, there are no devils, There's only people with mental illnesses that see delusions, that see devils and demons and and goblins and ghosts. It's just fucking dumb. There's no schizophrenics. They're just dumb people, just fucking so fucking dumb. They're just taught by dumb, born again morons. Okay, now I got that out. Okay, now here's a fun one, and we're gonna be done soon. I just had a fun time. Now, this is one of my favorite movies of all time, Fight Club, and it's such a great movie. If you haven't seen it, go just get it on the internet, whatever. It's okay. The 8 rules of Fight Club, and Fight Club's basically about this male bonding experience, and they form a fight club. And this is all before like the UFC became, and they get together and they never got into fights, fist fights, and they start becoming like, you know, men's club, and they start beating the shit out of each other, and you know, very primal, and Brad Pitt all muscled up, and you know, and so so Brad Pitt in one of the first scenes is the 8 rules of Fight Club. The first rule: you do not talk about Fight Club, you know, because this is everyone talks about Fight Club. The second rule: you do not talk about Fight Club. You know, of course, just re-emphasizing rule 1. The third rule: if someone says stop or goes limp, taps out, the fight is over. Actually, do him pretty good. Fourth rule, Fight Club: only 2 guys to a fight, which is the implication is you might have 3. Fifth rule: 1 fight at a time. That means there might be 2 fights at a time. Sixth rule: no shirts, no shoes. Okay? So when you fight, you can't wear a shirt, you can't wear shoes. Seventh rule, Fight Club: fight will go as long as they have to. So you can have a 20-hour fight conceivably or more. You know, maybe it's like 10 seconds. You know, a guy taps out, we're done. That's why my strategy would be really quick. Guy kicks straight at me. You know, I tap out immediately. I won't get my ass kicked. You know, call me a wimp. I'm a wimp. You know. See, pain is not good. You know, I broke my arm really bad, and I don't like pain. You know, but you're a whip. You can't get laid then. You know. Okay, I'll jerk off. You know, jerking. I'll talk about them in them. Okay, 8th rule: if this is your first night at Fight Club, you have to fight. And I remember Brad Pitt said almost a delight. Yeah. So if I was there, you know, there's a lot of guys. I don't think Brad Pitt knew any of the guys at Fight Club. You know, I would say, well, this is my first night, my second night at Fight Club. But this is such a great movie. I gotta get it. It's, you know, you could watch it over and over. Just such a, you know, in fact, when it came out, the critics kind of, you know, kind of mixed. Got good box office, but now it's like a cult movie. You know, it's such a great cult movie. And okay, I think we conclude with this. Hulk Hogan's 3 rules for victory. Number 1, okay, this is funny. Train. Okay, that was his first thing. So, you know, physical training, weightlifting, say your prayers, another fucking deluded motherfucker. And take your vitamins. Now, the problem with this is the vitamins are steroids, okay? So the little Hulkamaniacs, take your vitamins, okay? I know I took steroids. Hulkamania, Mean Gene, I took little steroids, but that's okay. I had to do it. Okay, so about 42 minutes, a little longer than I'm usually going lately. So today is November 1st, 2018. I'm the great Jew Atheist. By the way, I thought this was a terrific one. This might be the best one ever. I hope this gets around. What a great podcast. Not to toot my own horn. Okay, take care. Have a wonderful evening.